I want you to think about the last time this happened. You were really into someone, you were checking your phone, waiting for their messages, thinking about them during the day. There was excitement, tension, that feeling of wanting more. And then they gave it to you. They started showing real interest. They replied consistently. They made plans. They made it clear they liked you. And instead of feeling happy, something inside you just dropped. The attraction faded. The excitement disappeared. And you found yourself thinking, why don't I feel the same anymore? Did I just imagine everything? Maybe I didn't actually like them. But then here's the part that really messes with your head. If they start pulling away, suddenly the feelings come back. Strong, intense, almost urgent. If you have experienced this, you are not alone. And more importantly, you are not broken. But there is a reason this keeps happening.
Let's start with the first thing people don't realize. It was never just about them. At the beginning, when they're a bit distant, your brain is activated. You're trying to understand them, win them, get closer. There's uncertainty, and uncertainty creates emotional intensity. You feel more because you don't fully have them. So your mind fills in the gaps. You imagine, you idealize, you project. But once they clearly like you back, that uncertainty disappears. And with it, a big part of the emotional intensity. So it's not about that your feelings were fake. It's that part of what you were feeling was driven by the chase.
And where the chase ends, something else begins. Closeness, real closeness. And that's where things can get uncomfortable. Because when someone genuinely likes you, two things happen at the same time. You're no longer guessing how they feel, but now you're exposed. They can see you, they can get close to you, they can affect you. And for many people, especially those with more complex attachment patterns, this creates a subtle sense of pressure, not from them, but from inside. What if I disappoint them? What if this becomes too serious? What if I lose myself? So your system does something very clever. It turns down the feelings, not because the person changed, but because closeness feels less safe than distance.
This is where people start mislabeling the experience. They say, there's no spark anymore, something is missing, I don't feel chemistry. But often what's missing isn't connection, it's anxiety. Because for many people, anxiety and attraction have been linked for a long time. Uncertainty feels like excitement, distance feels like desire. So when someone is consistent, calm, emotionally available, it doesn't create that same emotional high. And your brain interprets that as this must not be right.
There is also something else happening that's harder to notice. At the beginning, when they're not fully available, you can be your ideal self, relaxed, interesting, attractive, because there is no real risk yet. But when they like you back, the dynamic changes. Now it's real. Now there are expectations. Now there is the possibility of being seen more deeply. And that can bring up thoughts like, what if they get to know me and they change their mind? What if I can't keep this up? So instead of leaning in, you emotionally step back. And again, it can feel like I've lost feelings. But sometimes what you've actually lost is your sense of control.
And then comes the cycle. You pull back, you feel less, you create distance. And for a moment, it feels clear like, yeah, this isn't it. But then, if they start moving away, if they stop texting as much, if they seem less available, everything comes back. The attraction, the focus, the desire. And you think, yeah, I really definitely like them. But what's really coming back is the same dynamic from the beginning: distant activation, feelings, closeness, deactivation, confusion.
So the real question isn't, do I like them or not? The real question is, what happens inside me when someone actually chooses me? Because that moment when someone is consistent, when they're present, when they're available, that's where your pattern shows up the most clearly, not in the chaos, but in the calm.
If you see yourself in this pattern, there's something important to take with you. Losing feelings doesn't always mean the connection is wrong. Sometimes it means the connection is too real for what your system is used to. And instead of asking, why did I lose interest? It might be more useful to ask, what did I start feeling when they get close? Because underneath the loss of attraction, there's often something else: vulnerability, fear, loss of control. And the more you start to recognize that, the less you'll confuse emotional safety with boredom and emotional intensity with love.